remember yesterday we had the unlock happen. 20% of the shares unlock, so people can take gains on it. I gave you quotes from the people that I know that are running books that have SpaceX in it. They told you they weren't going to sell. SpaceX ended up trading up yesterday. SpaceX stock survives its first massive float expansion, but is it out of the woods yet? Would love to get the group's opinion on this as well. Space Exploration Technology Corporation, or SpaceX, ticker SPCX, defied fears of heavy selling pressure on Thursday, rebounding 6.14% to close at 114.92, even as its first post-IPO lockup expiration significantly expanded the stock's free float. However, while SpaceX stock survived the initial release of 911.5 million shares, a series of staggered lockup tranches extending through December leaves investors questioning whether the SpaceX stock price is truly out of the woods. Market expectations pointed toward a steep decline on August 6th, when approximately 911.5 million shares held by employees and early investors became eligible to sell. Now, really quick, we talked about this yesterday in the moment, and it's important there because that last sentence there saying that the market expectations pointed towards a steep decline. Well, you know what happens when the expectations all point to the same thing? Generally speaking, the opposite's going to happen. This is, we talked to Mark Petrino, who we're going to be talking to coming up pretty soon. He always shows that sentiment survey where it has a very similar type of mechanism going on. Look, we saw it yesterday in SpaceX. There was no getting around it. The block, valued at roughly $104.8 billion based on Thursday's close, expanded the potential tradable pool of shares from 4.9% to 11.8%. Instead of collapsing, the SpaceX stock price recovered strongly from Wednesday's 13.6% drop. Quote, with the unlock of so many shares, 911 million shares, we expect such incredible volatility, end quote. That came from John Taves, managing director at the Post Oak Group, and he told that to Schwab Network. Goes on to say, quote, but it's been kind of holding steady. This is a long-term investment, a long-term hold, end quote. Despite the resilient trading session, Wall Street experts emphasize that SpaceX stock still faces a lingering supply overhang. The August 6th unlock represented only the first tranche, releasing up to 20% of eligible insider shares. Additional 7% tranches will unlock every 15 to 20 days through October, followed by an additional 28% release after the third quarter earnings and a full 180-day lockup expiration, which occurs on December 8th of this year. Speaking to Schwab Network, CFRA research equity analyst Keith Schneider warned that Thursday's unlock, quote, was just the tip of the iceberg in terms of what's going to become available to be sold, end quote. He added that insider sales, quote, could be a big pressure on the stock going forward, end quote. Although long-term bulls point to accelerating Starlink profitability and AI revenue growth, near-term sentiment remains weighed down by a massive $18.4 billion quarterly capital outlay. Remember, 6 times the revenue that they get on AI. In his piece assessing the aftermath of the stock unlock for Abo News, Peter Williams noted that the recovery above the 125 mark would be the initial signal of weakening selling pressure, but the stock would ultimately need to cross its 135 IPO price to break the broader downtrend. So there you go, folks. 135, definitely going to be one of your key levels there. That's the initial IPO price. Honorable mention to the 125 spot right before it.